bitch.
He's a punk. He's a dog. He's a pig.
And he can suck my
He's a con, a bullshit artist, a mutt.
I'll meet him in a hotel room any motherfucking day of the week and give him a Louisville Slugger.
I'd like to punch him in the face.
Kiss my mother.
Which side of the aisle is really spewing hateful rhetoric?
Pointing what appears to be a water gun at the image of President Donald Trump projected on a whiteboard, art teacher Pale Modi has now been seen by countless viewers.
Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Weekdays from noon to 3 p.m. Eastern Time, The J.J. McCartney Show, exposing the truth, exposing the lies, exposing the deep state.
It's an actor dressed to look just like President Donald Trump as he's assassinated on stage.
How much longer can America survive this kind of hatred?
Video depicting comedian Kathy Griffin holding the bloody, decapitated head of President Trump are no joking matter for the Secret Service.
The rhetoric that has inspired the violence has come from the mainstream of the Democratic Party.
They're involved in the coup, an active attempt to start a bloody civil war.
I want people to imagine an FBI director that has the stones to investigate the deep state. Imagine a justice system that has the integrity to prosecute corrupt government officials. They have refused to apply the 14th Amendment and give conservatives equal protection under the law. What we've seen here has been the gradual takeover of the government by corporatism, by globalism. They have wrested control of our government away from the citizenry and put it in the hands of a few special interests. And these special interests are as evil as the day is long.
We finally do have a president who has the integrity to do this. We finally do have a DOJ who has the integrity to do this. We know that we have people around the president who not only have the integrity, but have the information and the contacts to get everything done you just said. And you say, well, why aren't they doing it? Everything you're seeing on the news, that's what it's about. That's what this investigation's about. That's what calls of impeachment are about. That's what the globalist attack against Trump is about. That's what the hearings are about. That's what the allegations of Russian spying are about. It's about keeping them off point, keeping them off the agenda, keeping them off task. A lot of what you're watching happening right now, and the misdirection and the complete trying to keep Trump off target goes to that birth certificate. The worst crime in American history was perpetrated against America under the regime of Barack Obama. The media is complicit. Congress is complicit. Federal law enforcement apparently has been complicit. We've got a CIA whistleblower, Dennis Montgomery, whose attorney, Larry Klayman, put it all over the internet the other day that he has said that all of this spying that's been going on American people, that it resulted in manipulation and collusion with judges, Supreme Court justices, congressmen, etc., that James Comey was involved in it, that he was at the top of it. All of this stuff you're seeing about Donald Trump's with the Russians, Donald Trump needs to be impeached, Donald Trump, this is a smokescreen to keep our eyes off of what really happened and what's really going on. And America had better wake up to this, JJ.
Your federal government, your federal law enforcement agencies, our federal intelligence agencies, your federal government in toto has been compromised. The fact that Donald Trump has arrived and said, I'm not going to go along with the status quo anymore, is the cause for alarm for these people on the left. And ultimately, Carl, is it possible that yesterday was simply the first shot fired in an impending civil war between two irreconcilable ideologies?
I don't want our children and grandchildren to see or to participate or to fall victim to such a thing. I don't want our nation to go through such a thing. I don't know that we could survive that. Like Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, when he said, now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any other nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. I mean, God's people, we need to pray. We need to not be afraid to speak truth.
Weekdays from noon to 3 p.m. Eastern Time, The J.J. McCartney Show. Exposing the truth, exposing the lies, exposing the deep state. The following is a Nightside Radio Studios production.
From the wind-powered Nightside Radio Studios,
tear down this wall.
This is the J.J. McCartney Show.
It's this man. It's the compassion. It's the dignity. It's the wisdom. It's the horse sense of the guy.
Did you know that 65% of the people murdered in the last 10 years were killed by handguns?
Would it make you feel any better, little girl, if they was pushed out of windows?
The American people have seen the truth, and they can see through your lies. There's coming a day when publications such as yours turn into nothing more than flea market advertising. They'll be handing it out for free in grocery store parking lots under everybody's windshield wiper. Yeah, that's the future for the Washington Post and the New York Times and every other liberal publication in this country. We are not going to tolerate your bull anymore. None of it. The American people are fed up. I thought we made that clear on November 8th, but apparently you people in the media just don't get it. A new chapter in American history begins now.
It is my high honor and distinct privilege to introduce to you the President-elect of the United States of America.
Donald Trump is the person to make America great again.
We are a team.
They said it couldn't be done.
Together we will lead our party back to the White House.
He said it must be done.
Beginning on January 20th, we cannot afford to be so politically correct anymore. The most important difference between our plan and that of our opponent is that our plan will put America first.
Here's J.J. McCartney.
Hey, thank you, Marcus, and hello, everybody. Excuse me. It's Friday. It's the 9th day of February. And boy, oh boy, do we have a lot to bring you today. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the J.J. McCartney Show with the mysterious Colonel. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you've had a serious week. It's time for levity. We'll try and bring you some of that. I can't guarantee that it will make you laugh, but at the very least, it'll make you think about laughing. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being with us. Happy to have you here. The mysterious Colonel is with us, live from New York.
It's the mysterious Colonel. How
That's
are
right.
you?
It doesn't get much more mysterious than that, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh boy, what a rocky week.
So you know how it's tradition insists now that we call February Black History Month. You know this.
Yes, indeed.
But maybe, just maybe, considering the ride that the stock market has been on. Remember how they called it Black Monday back in 1987? When
I remember that.
You remember that? Remember that?
Yes, I remember that.
Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, maybe, just maybe, February of 2018 will be known as Black February, because as of the present moment,
yes,
we are looking at a stock market that has taken a tumble. It has it has definitely been like nothing we've ever seen before as far as the numbers are concerned, but percentage-wise, it's really not that bad. And the fact is, and we were saying this last week as well, a correction in the market is to be expected when you see the kind of meteoric rise that the market went on. Now, obviously 8 straight days of this makes people wonder, but I'll tell you, the powers that be, and I'm talking about some evil people like George Soros, are trying to manipulate this market to try, and I think it's a futile attempt, but they're trying to knock the memo that was released a week ago out of the headlines. That, I believe, is their intention, is to try and hide from the people what the real story is. The collusion between Hillary Clinton, the DNC, and the FBI and many other players, including Barack Obama and Loretta Lynch and James Comey. I mean, this is all a smokescreen in a way. I'm not saying the losses aren't real. But what I'm saying is there are some people pulling out all the stops right now trying to crash this market.
Oh, there's no doubt about it, JJ. You're absolutely right, and I agree with you 100%. Remember, because unfortunately the other side will stoop at nothing, however horrific it is and how many people get caught up in it, to destroy the presidency of Donald Trump. And you can rest assured, when he touted, hey, check your 401k, how great are you doing, that they took advantage of that. And I got to tell you, the Nancy Pelosi's, the Rachel Maddows, the two lovebirds on MSNBC, Mika and the dumbass Joe, and all the you-know-what from CNN are just loving every minute of this. They could care less about us. Common folk, because they don't really care, and they're loving it because, like I said, the great success and confidence that people shared in this economy right now, at least for this past week, is really destroying this guy, and that's what I said, and you're absolutely right. It's all the Comeys, the Clintons, everybody is afraid that their cover is going to get blown by this memo, and you're right, they're putting up every distraction, every smokescreen. And I got to tell you, I think I said this every show, I got to find out what university they've all gone to, the University of Spin. I'm not quite sure where it is, probably in California, quite frankly, because they are the masters of spin and deflection and ruse and lying, and nobody can hold any of these folks accountable whatsoever. It's really, truly a travesty.
It is. It's when you look at the you look at the performance on the job for 8 years with Barack Obama as president. America. I mean, you saw. I mean, first of all, unemployment was high when he took office, but analyzing Barack Obama's presidency, one can only say one thing. Where are the jobs? Where were the jobs when he was president? Where was economic growth when he was president? I mean, it was non-existent. I mean, by the time you figured out what inflation was doing to your paycheck, by the time you figured out what the the value of the dollar was and all these other things going on, I mean, it was Barack Obama's presidency was a zero-sum presidency at best. And for those folks out there that think that this is just make-believe, I mean, you look at the numbers for Donald Trump in his first year, and he absolutely schooled Barack Obama. And all of the other naysayers out there that said he doesn't know what he's doing, he knows what he's doing, and he's doing it very well. And all of the sleaze bags in Hollywood and all of the sleazebags in Washington that have aligned themselves against this president, they do so at their own personal detriment. And this is, when it was the last time we saw someone act in a way that was against their own best interest just to satisfy their own hate?
Right.
That's what this is.
Well, that's what you've got to give credit to the Dems and the Libs on the other side, because regardless of the previous administration's policies, those folks supported him to the T. They won't even speak ill of him, or in the least bit say, well, I really don't agree with him on this policy, but I'm going to vote with him. Look at the Republicans, Mitch McConnell, all these knuckleheads, that Lindsey Graham's. I like Rand Paul, but he resists a little bit too much. And they need to get together, like it or not. Get behind this president. Let's get this country back on its feet. We've only got a year behind us. There's not much more time to go.
And then there's the the classless people in Hollywood. We've talked about them before. This time it's Bette Midler. Yep. Bette Midler joking around while Rand Paul was essentially filibustering a little bit last night, and Bette Midler tweets, "Where is Rand Paul's neighbor when you need him?"
Yeah, I'm telling you, these people just disgust me.
I mean,
the nonviolent, all-inclusive people, right?
Yep. Now, the next thing they're going to say is where's John Hinckley when you need him? Or they might even say, where's Lee Harvey Oswald when you need him?
Or Squeak, yeah, exactly.
You know,
the master, not and Squeaky Fromm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, this is the hatred in Hollywood towards this president. It's irrational. It's immature. It is. I mean, it is the sign of an underdeveloped brain. It really is.
JJ, here's a good example. You know, Scott Baio has been supporting Trump openly for quite a while. He's been on TV a lot. Now look at all of a sudden what's going on with him. How many years later, these co-workers are coming forth and accusing him of stuff. It's unbelievable. And it's all to destroy. It's to destroy everybody that supports this president. I've never seen anything like it.
Right.
They just don't end. It doesn't stop.
And you know what? There is a story brewing. And the story is this. Apparently, Ronan Farrow, who used to work for MSNBC, who now works for the New Yorker magazine, he's the one that initially broke the story on Harvey Weinstein. Ronan Farrow is working on another expose, another piece targeting a major figure in American media. And for those people that haven't read between the lines, let me just tell you that we here at the J.J. McCartney Show have learned that the likely target of Ronan Farrow's investigation is none other than CBS president Les Moonves. Now, Les Moonves has been president of CBS for quite some time. Head of programming. He has been the one that's, made all the big decisions and guided CBS towards their status as the number one network in America. You can't take that away from them. They are number one. They've got all the great, shows that we watch every week. There's NCIS. There's, they got several good shows. For
Seals,
people,
I think.
Navy SEALs or SEAL Team.
SEAL Team 6.
And
SEAL Team 6 or something like that.
And then they've got, they've got shows like The Big Bang Theory, which I know a lot of people don't follow it, but my wife and daughter enjoy it, so I'll watch it with them, and it's a fairly funny show. It really is. And they've got the highly acclaimed series, The Young Sheldon, which is all about the childhood of Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory. And it's hilarious. It really is. Very well cast, very well written, very well acted, and we enjoy it. But they also have programs like Celebrity Big Brother, which just started this week. Their idea of celebrities for a Celebrity Big Brother game show, or contest or whatever you want to call it. Their idea of celebrities. Get ready for this, Colonel. You might want to be sitting down because these celebrities are so significant. Let's see. There's Chuck Liddell, famous WW, or is it? I'm not sure if he's a cage. I think he's a cage fighter. He was one of the what is it called? Ultimate Fighting Championships or whatever.
Ultimate Fighter, right?
Yeah, Chuck Liddell. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then you've got Keisha Knight Pulliam, who was the little girl on the Cosby Show back in the day. Okay.
Wow.
Then you've got Omarosa from The Apprentice. Okay.
Exactly.
And who most recently had worked for the Trump administration, then got unceremoniously dumped. Okay, and then you've got, you might want to be sitting down for this one, Ross the intern from Jay Leno's Tonight Show.
Oh, no way!
I kid you not. They call that a celebrity.
My God,
it's like this guy is, he is as, yeah. He's like,
to say the least.
He's as he's as fruity as a $4 bill. Okay, he's just not. I don't consider him a celebrity. I don't consider him anything, really. And then they've got Shannon Elizabeth, who was one of the stars of that '70s show. Okay, and the rest of them, I can't remember their names because they're not famous. I mean, really, it's a joke. And then last night, we were watching the tail end of the show because we were waiting for The Big Bang Theory to come on, and Omarosa was arguing, sort of, with Keisha Knight Pulliam. Keisha Knight Pulliam was critical of Omarosa because she worked for the Trump campaign. And it was all about I 100% hate Trump because I'm black and because I'm a politically correct black. That's what Keisha Knight Pulliam basically her position was. And Omarosa kind of threw it back in her face and said, "So you're going to criticize me because I campaigned for Trump and I worked for Trump? You were on a show starring Bill Cosby." Okay, Bill freaking Cosby. Yeah. Exactly. So who are you to preach at me about who I've rubbed elbows with? You know, but she didn't say it that way. She was very, very tactful in the way she handled it. But the underlying theme was, who do you think you are? And I got to say this. It bothers me that it's the only acceptable political viewpoint that a black girl thinks she can have is to hate Donald Trump. And I watched a video on YouTube last night. I want to share this as soon as I get out of this screen here. Hang on one second. Because it really summarizes very well the bogusness of the argument on the left, that these people will dismiss anything that Donald Trump says, and they will laud anything that Barack Obama says, unless you do it a little differently. In this case, there was a reporter, an astute reporter, that went out on the streets. Well, I'm going to let you hear it so that you can judge it for yourself. And we'll bring it to you here in just a minute. We're just bypassing the mandatory ad that they put on YouTube whenever they have such a story break here. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to this.
Campus reform.
Okay, stand by 1 second. We got to fix a little echo issue. Boy, don't you love computers? They're the most wonderful invention since sliced bread. Here we go. Okay, that's not going to work. Oh, what the heck? All right, here we go. Sorry, that it's taking a little longer than I thought, but Colonel, this is worth the wait. You're going to love this.
I'm Calvin Phillips with Campus Reform. Today we're at John Jay College getting reactions to President Trump's State of the Union address last night. We're going to give them a few quotes from the speech and ask their reaction. Except the quotes we're giving them are actually from President Obama's State of the Union addresses. What will they have to say? Let's find out. So I have a few quotes here from the State of the Union. I want to get your feedback. First, talking about ISIS, saying, quote, "We need to call them what they are, killers and fanatics who have to be hunted down and destroyed." What's your thought on that?
Well, first off, ISIS is fake. It's something the government made up so they can continue doing what they want to do, which is world domination.
Donald Trump should, mind his own business and, just focus on America because he's the president of the United States, not of the whole world.
I feel like that's a very strong statement. And when you say something like that, it kind of makes you, a target.
Or if you're a threat to this country, we're going to get you for that. It's just ridiculous.
Next up, talking about the general world stage, saying, quote, "When you come after Americans, we come after you. It may take time, but we have long memories and our reach has no limit." What's your thought on that?
Well, I don't think that's a good way of handling something.
It's like he doesn't think before speaking, and how it's going to offend a lot of people.
He should be careful because there's other countries out in the world that has like automatic weapons and nuclear bombs.
I mean, he's got small hands, so I don't know about his reach. So.
And finally, talking about China, saying China wants to write the rules. That would put us at a disadvantage. Why should we let that happen? We should write those rules.
I wouldn't mess with China.
He's over the top in general, so it's par for the course.
It's like everything is out the window. Like, China.
I guess the way that he approaches things is very aggressive, and that's not the best way to approach situations.
What if I told you that all three of these quotes were actually from President Obama's State of the Unions?
All right.
Full of shit, aren't you?
What's your thought? Are you surprised?
Kind of, yeah.
It's actually crazy to hear that.
I think there's a bias against President Trump when it comes to hearing a speech like the State of the Union.
Yeah, I do think there's a bias. I guess bias is really bad in general. Just because you don't agree with it doesn't mean it's not right.
I am definitely not a huge fan of him. However, I think being closed-minded is probably more dangerous than anything he could do.
Some people are quick to judge on Donald Trump just because a few things he said, but I think if they paid attention to his whole presidency, maybe they'll have a better outlook on him and a better perspective in general.
Because unfortunately, a lot of times what you hear is tainted by bias, and you really can't go off that. So do your own research, educate yourself. It's your duty. It's it's the future of the country.
There you go, Colonel. The point made beautifully by a group called Campus Reform. That was on the University of John Jay University, right there in New York City.
And I hate to admit it, but it's my second alma mater, John Jay College of Criminal Justice.
Wow. But what is it? But what is the teachable moment that you can take away from this, ladies and gentlemen? It is do your own research. Don't rely on the mainstream media, and don't just gobble up the bullshit that your professors or whoever else is spoon-feeding you about how you should feel. I mean, have your own mind, for Christ's sake. I mean, it really is. It amazes me that people can go to, most of these people likely are on their way to graduating, some of them probably with honors, and yet they're so easily led around by the nose.
Yep.
Now, Colonel, if somebody had come up to you with those quotes, you would have known, wouldn't you?
Oh, boy. You better believe it. You better believe it.
But it's amazing how easily these people are misled. And, if you take first of all, there was absolutely nothing wrong with Donald Trump's State of the Union. I mean, it was...
No, nothing at all. You're right. Absolutely nothing. You're absolutely right.
And the irrational hatred that these people have fomented for Donald Trump has nothing to do with the job he is doing, the positions he has taken. It has everything to do with the fact that these people have been instructed to hate him.
JJ, look at the perfect example is when he recognized the parents who lost their kids to MS-13. The libs, the Dems sat again on their hands, did nothing. Even when he recognized the black unemployment is down and Hispanic American, they still did nothing. That just speaks volumes right there.
It really does. It truly does. I can't. Do I wish these people were smarter? Yeah, I do. I wish they were smarter. I mean, for their own sakes, if not for the sake of the country, I do wish they were smarter. But, these people, they don't just, they take stupid to a new level. They really do. They have taken ignorance, naivete about the world we live in, and a lack of understanding about how America was founded and how America is still here after 240 years. These people have no clue. Our founding, our our development of the free market economy, the democratic republic, never been tried before successfully in the world's history. And here we are now in our third century. And these people, I mean, if they're going to be citizens of the United States, there should be a test that they have to pass. I mean, really. We used to have academic standards in America. And when we did, America was a much stronger country. It really was. When we had, when society demanded better behavior of its people, this was a truly great country. You look at today, and I don't want to sound pessimistic, Colonel, but I'm looking around saying, where is the moral authority in this society today?
Right.
And unfortunately, for most people, it's either CNN or MSNBC or one of the other major networks. I mean, the moral authority, really, truly, in our history, came from the Bible and the Magna Carta. Mm-hmm. And yes, the Constitution was could not have been composed without the Bible and the Ten Commandments and the Magna Carta. It couldn't have happened. Just could not have happened. And so here we sit watching basically the slow motion decline of our society. And there's only one way we can fix it, and that's one mind at a time. Mm-hmm. I mean, it really is. Yeah. So when you went to school, way back when you went to school, did they have talkies when you went to school?
Talkies. Well, when I wasn't in the outhouse, I guess, or fetching water for the class. Good Lord. No, you're right. It's I think what worries me is because of these new contraptions that everybody has got glued to their hands.
Yes.
And the fact that they are, I'm telling you, so addicted. I think more addicted than they are to narcotics, quite frankly. What I see, JJ, it's incredible. And the fact that they know nothing and they learn nothing from school. And I got to tell you, this is not programmed. When those reporters go out there, it's not like they select 50 people and edit out everybody else and only select those that give the dumb answers. This is a large representative sample of, like you said, the dumbing down of the youth of this world, this country. And quite frankly, I'm wondering whether or not it's by design.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what the intention is.
Oh, by the way, and this completely blows the narrative for today, ladies and gentlemen. I don't mean to go against the grain and everything, but now I'm sorry, this is going to ruin everybody's day at all the major news networks because now the Dow Jones is in positive territory for the day. It's up.
Hey, JJ, why don't you ask your listeners how they like the crumbs they got?
Oh,
when
yes.
They saw their current paycheck. Did they like the crumbs?
The crumbs.
Or were they upset? The crumbs.
That's right.
That we peasants get. We peasants get crumbs.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, when you hear politicians talking about, $1,000 bonus or, somebody that's now seeing, $200 or $300 more on their paycheck every payday, when you refer to that as crumbs, what you are doing is verifying everything we've said about how out of touch the average congressperson and senator is with working America. And, I look at this and, we joke about things, but, there's really an underlying thing here. You look at, you were talking about the devices that people carry on their hips, and they don't go anywhere without them. They feel lost without them. As a matter of fact, there's actually now a psychological syndrome for people that go through a mobile device withdrawal when their phone is unplugged and doesn't charge, and all of a sudden it's down for a few hours. They actually go nuts. But here's the big mistake that people make. They think that access to the internet is a substitute for wisdom and intelligence. It is not. Having access to the internet, being able to Google the answer to a question on Jeopardy, does not make you smart. And there's no real learning taking place because people, instead of exercising their brains, they just jump on their portable device. And I mean, yes, they have fast access to information, but that doesn't equate to knowledge. It really doesn't. And what we're seeing today is we're seeing people being graduated from high school, graduated from college, that have absolutely no marketable skills at the end of the day. And they get out there in the workforce, and guess what? They're incompetent, and so they're not going to make anything more than minimum wage, whatever that turns out to be. But the problem is, Colonel, we have had people out there lobbying, saying that, well, we need to make the minimum wage $15 an hour. They don't understand that if any worker is not producing more than they're being paid by their employer, and it's actually even more than that because the employer has to pay matching taxes on Social Security. The employer has to provide benefits because, of course, you can't hire somebody if you don't have some sort of incentive for them. And so if an employee is not more productive than what they're being paid, then they don't keep a job very long. And then what do? They blame the system.
Yeah, of course. That's right.
And right. I mean, when's the last time that you saw somebody raw out of school that could hit the ground running at a job?
Right.
I mean, and how much is that worth? And see, this is the thing I don't understand is why employers don't make people understand that when they hire them. Say, look, we'll give you a chance, but if you don't produce, you're gone, And that's not cruelty. That is not cruelty. That is just the world we live in. And,
exactly.
I was like, could you afford to pay somebody more than they were worth?
Right.
The only entity in the country that does that on a long-term basis is the United States government.
Right.
And boy, do they...
But again... but again, JJ, this is the problem. The people who are saying that are not the ones who are affected by it or are working those jobs. It's easy for me to say, yeah, JJ ought to pay his daughter Allison when she does all this work for him, because I'm not the one dealing with it. And it's the same with these businesses. Everybody else is making those decisions for him. And I get that. You got to have somebody advocate for him. But those that advocate don't understand, like you said, okay, in addition to that, now we have to pay him benefits, we have to do that, we have to do that. Look, I'm not a businessman, I'm not making money like a businessman, but I understand to a certain extent what they have to deal with. I don't know how we could make it more equitable so that the folks who own businesses don't make millions and gazillions of dollars and that they share it with the rest of us. I don't think the system works that way.
Right. Well, honestly, folks, we've been in the workforce, or we've, been out there a long time, Colonel. And, people our age, we have a different frame of reference than people do today. We remember what $1 was worth when we were growing up.
You were right about that. Absolutely.
And it's very difficult for me to conceive of somebody spending, I don't know, $6 on a pack of cigarettes.
Oh, right.
And as a kid, I mean, we're talking what, a buck for a pack of cigarettes was generally speaking what they sold for. And and you know what? When I smoked, that was a bargain. It really was.
Right.
When you could walk into a convenience store. If you were working and poor like me, you could walk into a convenience store, step out of there with a soda and a burrito that you warmed up in their archaic microwave ovens, and walk out of there for $1. Back then, I mean, people survived. They did what they had to do to survive. I used to survive when I was a young, struggling disc jockey, the age of 19 or 20. And I was earning, I think it's something like $1,200 a month, which was before taxes, of course. And, and you know, I was happy to have that job. $1,200 a month. Now, you take away taxes, you look at my living expenses, and I would survive. I was working the graveyard shift, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. I would survive on about, maybe 75 cents to $1 a day in groceries. You know, how do you do that? Well, first of all, you malnourish yourself, you know, but you survive. And getting by when you know, I mean, shoot, I was paying, you know, $550 a month just for rent, you know. And by the time you parse out, you know, being able to afford to get anywhere, go back and forth, you know, had to have an automobile. But everything was, you know, I mean, I understood why things cost what they cost. But today, I mean, it's outrageous. It really is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, absolutely.
And it got a lot worse under Barack Obama. And somebody that can testify to that is Charlotte in South Carolina. Hello, Charlotte.
Hey there. Boy, things do change. When I started smoking, cigarettes were 28 cents a pack.
Wow. Yeah, you knew Philip Morris personally.
I knew him personally. I sure did. I called to tell you some bad news, JJ. You know, Tim Allen, everything was all lined up for them to come back on the air on a different channel, and the talks fell through. But he is making a movie with Adam Carolla and Dennis Prager, the radio host.
Right.
The movie is No Safe Spaces.
Wow. I'd be very interested
like
in seeing it.
in Nazi Germany. He says, like we're living in Nazi Germany, all the TV channels are liberal, and all the people that watched it had fits wanting it to come back on.
Right.
And
right.
It was supposed to come back on in January, but everything is ready and it all fell through.
You know that's because you know there are forces at work in the world of television that we never see and never hear about.
They're all owned by 6 companies. They're all owned by 6 companies.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all liberal.
They're globalists.
And, most of them that work at TV stations have worked in the Democratic Party in Washington, D.C., and they just go back and forth. So they carry the water for the Democrats.
Yep. There's no doubt about it.
We're entering another era of what happened when probably, Charlotte, you were my age, and I may be about the same or a little bit younger than you.
I think I'm a little older than you, Colonel. I'll be 78 in March.
All right. Well, that's a confirmed, ladies and gentlemen. That's confirmed. But anyway, when we were growing up, remember it was all the hippies and anti-establishment. So this is probably that times 1,000. Because everybody everywhere is trying to suppress even conservative thought, let alone speech or programs or everything. They're just trying to do everything.
I have never, ever seen it this bad. I know when Reagan was in office, everybody was against him, but nothing like Trump.
Like this. No,
I mean, even his own party's against him in some places. And Paul Ryan, you never know which way he'll flip-flop. Like him one day and jump on him the next day. Exactly. But it tickles me to death that the more it's not but a couple of reporters doing reporting. The more they report and the more they dig, all this stuff is coming back on the Democrats. And every scandal they open up's got Hillary's name on it.
You better believe it, and it's scary. But you know what? Where is the outrage? Where's the Department of Justice? We need to start locking some people up.
I think Gosh, I think Sessions either asleep or somebody's locked him up somewhere. We haven't had an attorney general for a year, and I keep writing to Trump and telling him, I know that you have faith in the one you appoint, and I know you want to be faithful, but you've been too patient with him.
You better believe it. Yeah,
he is sleeping through the biggest scandal America's ever had.
You better. You're right. He's probably caged. I think he's kind of caged like the Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs, because I haven't heard a peep. I haven't seen a press conference. Nothing about what's going on now. And you're right, Charlotte. Every time the Dems or something that they key in on, it turns around. I've never seen more evidence against the Clintons, Hillary, the FBI, everybody than
that's the whole thing in a nutshell.
Collusion. Exactly.
I think Sessions is scared to death of the Clintons.
Oh no, I think you're right. He probably got the visit by the two men in black that said, "Hey, you've got a nice family, Mr. Sessions. Be a shame if something happened to him. Have a nice day." I'm telling you,
we really need
this stuff. Happens.
I hope how soon that Inspector General gets through with his report to FBI and DOJ. But I tell you, we really need a new Attorney General or an Attorney General. Period.
Agreed.
Because we haven't had one. He recused himself right after his appointment.
No,
and he's not done the same.
How about Judge Jeanine Pirro?
Judge Jeanine?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I would love her.
She would be a good one. Oh, she would be a good one.
You better believe it. And I volunteer to be her driver and personal security guard.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will take a bullet. I'll take several bullets for her.
Yeah.
She is the best.
She
best.
is.
I do not miss her show. She is the best.
She is
and
the
she's
best.
been saying forever they need to take him out there in handcuffs. Now, I had hoped Trey Gowdy might get it, and I think that he has been offered the job. But I think he just thinks that Washington is too corrupt for him, and he's coming back home to his family.
You know,
I agree with you, Charlotte.
I
think he's burned out.
Have you ever noticed? And this is not a criticism, but it's just an observation. Have you ever noticed that? I mean, Trey Gowdy, he always looks like he just rubbed baby oil all over his face and his head.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what it is about the guy.
He's got that because he's.
I don't know. I don't think he pays any attention to his looks. He just gets into his work and forgets about it.
No, he's got that. He's got. I don't know what you call it. That medical condition where his head is shaped a little bit differently, where it is in fact pointed. If that makes sense. Yeah, because if you look at his hair, he's got that. He's tried to comb it several ways. But I got to tell you, I love him. I think he is great, and I think he'd be a great attorney general. I just think he's been so that maybe he doesn't see that we can get beyond where we're at right now, and I think he's just.
He's aggravated because, like he says, they cannot put handcuffs on anybody. He said a lot of the cases they have. Right. Uncovered. He said they needed to, but they don't have the power to do so.
Well, it's like
I think he's tired of corruption.
I think the
Speaking of heads, though.
Hang on. Let me just get the thought in here real quick. The frustration I have, and this is with both political parties, they have so much dirt on one another that it's like opposing superpowers that have nuclear weapons aimed at each other, and that's what keeps them from pushing the button. And it frustrates the heck out of me.
No matter what, Hillary's name is always in among them. Speaking of heads, though, these older people could tell by the shape of the head how intelligent you were going to be. I remember when my son was little, my friend had a child about the same age, and her grandmother was holding my son and rubbed his head. She said, "Charlotte, he's going to be a very intelligent boy." And Susan spoke up and said, "What about Bobby?" She said, "Oh, he's going to be a nut like the rest of us."
Yeah.
But they could tell by the shape of their heads.
Yeah,
they really could. And
why couldn't they? But why couldn't those people have spotted people like Maxine Waters early on in the process?
Oh boy,
you know what I mean?
Who votes for that?
I mean, because
that.
Well, this is the advertisement for letting California just leave. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
like, okay, it's we're going to divorce ourselves from California, And by the way, good luck paying your bills.
Yeah.
Good luck
exactly.
feeding all those illegals. Good luck with all that. We're just going to, cut our losses. California, you're now your own free country.
Oh, I think we've lost California. I did hear on radio yesterday, I'm not sure what show it was, but that Trump had appointed Gowdy to investigate and told him to go where he had to and do what he had to. So I don't know. It's what are you going to be investigating? But I think the Clinton Foundation.
Wow.
Well, that definitely needs to be investigated. There's no doubt about that.
Oh,
but you're right, Charlotte. The Clintons have their. Let me tell you, they are the masters at threatening and doing whatever they.
A lot of dead bodies turn up around them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
I'm just looking for them to uncover the Seth Rich murder. He started a lot of this because he saw the corruption and he leaked the WikiLeaks. And then he was murdered.
It certainly looks that way.
And that Iranian
really
one, she keeps saying that there were several ones had to sign off on it. Well, maybe they did. But right. The Clintons were the only one that profited from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a highly likely scenario that, Seth Rich, first of all, in an office setting like the Hillary Clinton campaign, there is no communique that can get past the machinery that the Clintons, I'm sure, had in place.
Right.
So that if there was somebody that was, thinking about exposing them, then that someone would just, all of a sudden have a little accident,
Exactly.
And it's not the first time they've done it. It's not the last time they've done it, I'm sure. The problem I had with the whole scenario was that the local police were so very quick to hide the evidence in that case. And the Democrat National Committee instructing the local police department in Washington, D.C. to drop the investigation. I mean, that's a proven fact. Debbie Wasserman Schultz was the head of the DNC, and she was in touch with the police department, the homicide detectives in Washington, and basically said, you better not look into this. This is open and shut. I mean, it was a clear case of a robbery gone wrong, and if you say anything different than that, then we know where your family lives, too.
As a caveat to that, look at the video that she... when she threatened the chief of police inside the Capitol for looking into and investigating the computer skullduggery that was going on. She flat out threatened him too. So you're absolutely right. There's no doubt in my mind that she more than likely did that. And this is the threat. Chief of police in Washington D.C. I loved Kathy Lanier. I thought she was a pretty good chief of police. She lasted for years. I'm not sure if she was the current chief when this guy Seth Rich was murdered, but somebody places a call and you value your job, JJ. You know how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Chief, you might want to shut down this investigation because you're not going to be happy with the results, or if you value your job, whatever. And what do you do?
It shows you how far the tentacles reach.
Oh, there's no doubt. That's everything that happens in Virginia, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. is all politically based when it's at that level. Let me tell you. Hey, you like being the administrator, or you like this political appointee position, mysterious colonel? Well, if you'd really like to keep it even longer, maybe you should do this. Okay? Thank you very much, Remember, you serve at the behest of blankety blank. Yeah, that's the way it operates. There's nothing legit down there, believe me. Been there, and I've seen it.
So inside the Beltway,
it's scary.
Yeah, inside the Beltway, there's really no room for honest Americans to be represented. I mean, it really it's all a dog and pony show.
Right. Remember, JJ, if you are honest. Let's take, for example, if the mysterious colonel were down there, and I'm trying to do the right thing and bring morals and integrity back, then all of a sudden you find out, when I molested some young girl during my first Holy Communion ceremony. I mean, whether it's true or not, they destroy your reputation by somebody coming out after all these years, whatever it is. You know what I mean? That's how it's done. And it doesn't matter if it's true or not. You never are innocent until proven guilty, and you can never clear your name. You're done. That's how easy it is.
Even look what they did to Mitt Romney when he was running for president. They went all the way back to his high school days.
The dog.
Yeah, exactly. Well, his high school days when he supposedly harassed some guy in school. Mm-hmm. And they tried to make it look as though, this proves that he's a bully and he's unfit for office. And it was like, excuse me, when's the last time we went back and checked what Bill Clinton was doing in high school? Or
Barack Hussein Obama.
Well, yeah, Barack Hussein Obama. That's we had access to a lot of what people would call anecdotal evidence about Barack Obama. And some people don't give any weight at all to anecdotal evidence. But when there's enough of it, then you're able to build a case off of it. You really are. He's sealed his college transcripts. He's sealed his health records. And the supposed long-form birth certificate that he produced was an absolute forgery. It was a fake. It was a fraud. It was completely and totally made up. And the forensic evidence proves it. It absolutely proves it. The birth certificate was a phony. He sealed up his college transcript and won't release his medical records. I mean, this paints a picture of somebody that's hiding something.
Of course. Of course.
And yet, the powers that be, the companies that own the mainstream media, the political power brokers in the Beltway, I mean, all of this, they will tell you, and you'll often hear this among conspiracy theorists, that the election was decided long ago. You know, by people in a room somewhere said, this is the way it's going to turn out. Protectors of the status quo. And people that want to give the American people the illusion that they're in control. But when it all comes down to it, they control what the executive branch does. They control what the legislative branch does. And most importantly, they control the judicial branch and what they do. Mm-hmm. You think about the decision that led to Obamacare becoming the law of the land. And it all hinged on the Chief Justice completely changing his mind and rewriting Obamacare right there in the Supreme Court.
Right. Yep.
So, I mean, obviously Donald Trump was an anomaly, but do you honestly think that these people are going to let go of the reins of power?
No, that's exactly. Yep.
And this is why we see the attacks. Exactly right.
Yep. Exactly.
But don't give up. I mean, we never give up. I mean, you fought. No. You built your career in the military because you loved your country, and I think that's why especially those people that in the all-volunteer army have done. They've gone so far because they want to protect what they believe in. And the sad thing is, if you're going to protect what you truly believe in, at some point in time, we're going to have to focus our attention on the corruption in Washington. At some point in time, it's going to come down to a showdown. And I believe that the presidency of Donald Trump is bringing that showdown about.
JJ, you bring up a good point. You always remind me. For those lefties and libs and Dems who think we're one-sided, look, I think the Bushes, and I'm glad Jeb Bush isn't in, that's another family. I had enough Bushes just with the two of them. I was done with them. They have no more purpose. George Bush, the younger, needs to shut the you-know-what up.
Oh, yeah.
Move on.
Yep.
Just do what you it's enough already.
Why is it that he was so happy to comply with the just be quiet when Obama was president, but now that Trump's in there, he's out there, half a world away, bad-mouthing him. That's crazy. Okay, folks, that's going to do it for the first hour. Me and the Colonel will be back. Hour number 2 is coming up next. Are these the first volleys in America's next civil war?
He's not a tough guy. He's a bully and he's a bitch. He's a punk. He's a dog. He's a pig. And he can suck my He's a con, a bullshit artist, a mutt. I'll meet him in a hotel room any other day of the week and give him a Louisville slugger. I'd like to punch him in the face. Kiss my mother.
Which side of the aisle is really spewing hateful rhetoric?
Pointing what appears to be a water gun at the image of President Donald Trump projected on a whiteboard, art teacher Pale Modi has now been seen by countless viewers.
Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Weekdays from noon to 3 p.m. Eastern Time, The J.J. McCartney Show, exposing the truth, exposing the lies, exposing the deep state.
It's an actor dressed to look just like President Donald Trump as he's assassinated on stage.
How much longer can America survive this kind of hatred?
Video depicting comedian Kathy Griffin holding the bloody, decapitated head of President Trump are no joking matter for the Secret Service.
The rhetoric that has inspired the violence has come from the mainstream of the Democratic Party.
They're involved in the coup, an active attempt to start a bloody civil war.
I want people to imagine an FBI director that has the stones to investigate the deep state. Imagine a justice system that has the integrity to prosecute corrupt government officials. They have refused to apply the 14th Amendment and give conservatives equal protection under the law. What we've seen here has been the gradual takeover of the government by corporatism, by globalism. They have wrested control of our government away from the citizenry and put it in the hands of a few special interests. And these special interests are as evil as the day is long.
We finally do have a president who has the integrity to do this. We finally do have a DOJ who has the integrity to do this. We know that we have people around the president who not only have the integrity, but have the information and the contacts to get everything done you just said. And you say, well, why aren't they doing it? Everything you're seeing on the news, that's what it's about. That's what this investigation's about. That's what calls of impeachment are about. That's what the globalist attack against Trump is about. That's what the hearings are about. That's what the allegations of Russian spying are about. It's about keeping them off point, keeping them off the agenda, keeping them off task. A lot of what you're watching happening right now, and the misdirection and the complete trying to keep Trump off target goes to that birth certificate. The worst crime in American history was perpetrated against America under the regime of Barack Obama. The media is complicit. Congress is complicit. Federal law enforcement apparently has been complicit. We've got a CIA whistleblower, Dennis Montgomery, whose attorney, Larry Klayman, put it all over the internet the other day that he has said that all of this spying that's been going on American people, that it resulted in manipulation and collusion with judges, Supreme Court justices, congressmen, etc., that James Comey was involved in it, that he was at the top of it. All of this stuff you're seeing about Donald Trump's with the Russians, Donald Trump needs to be impeached, Donald Trump, this is a smokescreen to keep our eyes off of what really happened and what's really going on. And America had better wake up to this, JJ.
Your federal government, your federal law enforcement agencies, our federal intelligence agencies, your federal government in toto has been compromised. The fact that Donald Trump has arrived and said, I'm not going to go along with the status quo anymore, is the cause for alarm for these people on the left. And ultimately, Carl, is it possible that yesterday was simply the first shot fired in an impending civil war between two irreconcilable ideologies?
I don't want our children and grandchildren to see or to participate or to fall victim to such a thing. I don't want our nation to go through such a thing. I don't know that we could survive that. Like Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, when he said, now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any other nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. I mean, God's people, we need to pray. We need to not be afraid to speak truth.
Weekdays from noon to 3 p.m. Eastern Time. The J.J. McCartney Show. Exposing the truth. Exposing the lies. Exposing the deep state.
Live from the Nightside Radio Studios.
This is the J.J. McCartney Show.
Are you better off than you were 4 years ago?
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Coming to you from Nebraska by way of Alaska. Here's J.J. McCartney.
All right, thank you, Marcus. And welcome back, everybody. It's the Friday edition of the J.J. McCartney Show. Phone lines open, 855-853-5227. The mysterious Colonel is with us. And we've been talking about, well, all kinds of things. How it all ties together. You've got the evil empire. You've got the big corporate globalist interests out there trying to hang on to their power. While Donald Trump on the other side of the aisle, well, actually, no, it's not the aisle. He's on the other side of the of the universe when it comes to his morals. And you know, the thing is, you know, the media loved Donald Trump when he was a celebrity. They did. They loved celebrity Trump. Or you look at the ratings that he got on The Apprentice. You look at how he commanded attention when he was doing that kind of thing. I mean, you know, I didn't hear them saying anything about how he was an evil profiteer or anything like that, you know.
Yeah, and JJ, as I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't all the proceeds for all the skits, so to speak, that he made all the contestants do, didn't all that stuff go to charities each and every show?
Yeah.
Wasn't that money generated for charities? So it wasn't like he was putting it in his pocket.
Oh, I'm sure he was making money, though. I mean, the network was...
Well, yeah, off the show, but I'm just saying, what he was making the celebrities do all went to charity. So, you know, that's pretty admirable, you know?
And what I also liked is that with very few exceptions, the contestants that he would have on the show came away from it really respecting him. And, I mean, when you have people like, you know, Gary Busey, I mean, he's, you know, damaged goods. But, you know, you have these people, and they all came away from the experience calling him Mr. Trump, having respect for his accomplishments. And NBC was, you know, laughing all the way to the bank. You know, they were making big money on that show. And yet, isn't it amazing how quickly they turn their weapons?
They forget.
Yes.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, I'm your best friend until I shoot you in the back.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly. Yep.
And so why wouldn't Donald Trump have an axe to grind with the mainstream media? They deserve it. I mean, they really do. And his,
I agree.
You know, his focus for the last year has been on the American people. His focus has been on serving the working class. And you know what? I think that it's proper. I think it's absolutely right that the president give more consideration to the taxpayers of America than he does to the freeloaders that sneak across the border and then claim they've been here since they were teenagers.
Yeah,
you know,
isn't that amazing?
It is. It is. It's like...
It is absolutely amazing.
I mean, you have, you know, one party in this country wants to give up its sovereignty. One party in this country doesn't want to be the United States of America anymore. They want to put their head put their neck in the stockade and begin serving their global masters. That's what they want on the left. And by doing so, what they're really saying is that, well, morally speaking, I mean, we've been a bad country for hundreds of years. We enslaved the blacks. We oppressed the poor.
Right.
We did all these terrible things. And it's like, excuse me, who was it that won World War I and World War II? Who was that? Mm-hmm. Who was it that paid for reparations in Europe? Who was it that paid for reparations in Japan? Who was it that put entire communities back on their feet after disasters? Who is this most benevolent nation in the history of the world? And who do these people think they are? To denigrate the sacrifices made by our soldiers, through good times and bad. I believe the sacrifices made by soldiers on both sides of the Civil War deserve to be honored.
Exactly.
The Civil War happened.
Exactly.
And not everybody on either side was without fault, and not everybody on either side was without honor and nobility. And this idea that we must have homogenized thinking in America is the most dangerous threat to America that we have ever had. Mm-hmm. It really is. Because what they're basically trying to do is outlaw dissent. Now, what do we used to call that? Fascism. Mm-hmm. Adolf Hitler did it. Who else did that? Pol Pot? Mao Zedong? Mussolini.
You're right.
Attila the Hun. People. If you think it's okay to treat the opposition like they're a bug that needs to be squashed in America, then you don't understand what America is all about. It's like, imagine where we'd be if homogenized thinking had been in place before the American Revolution. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's mind-boggling. These people have no understanding of what America is and what it stands for. And, maybe just maybe, it doesn't stand for everything that it used to stand for. Mm-hmm. But if we're gonna continue to be a nation, then we need to go back to a time when people believed in American exceptionalism, Colonel.
Yeah, I agree.
Because what is it that what could make the difference between winning and losing a war? It's how much your fighting men and women believe in the cause.
That's correct.
It's the ham and eggs breakfast analogy again. The chicken's involved, but the pig is committed. And for the people out there that really have their fat in the fire for the United States, they're going to fight harder. Because they know what they're protecting. They know what they're fighting for. If you have generations of people coming up believing that, meritocracy is passé, the guy that works hard doesn't deserve more for his efforts than the person that just skates by and says, what's the absolute minimum I could do and still get a paycheck?
Right.
I know it may not be the most exciting thing to think about, but folks.
No, you're right. You're right.
America is hanging in the balance. It really is. America is literally, as Donald Trump goes in the next 3 years, so goes the nation.
Yeah. No, and you're absolutely right. We're extremely vulnerable right now, and we have a threat from the other side that is probably more vicious than any terrorist organization or any enemy, with the exception of North Korea right now. And I'm not just being facetious about that, because, like I said, look at the links that they're going to to destroy this administration. They just hate this person so much. They don't care one bit about the American people or how financially or economically well off people are. I guarantee you they're probably disgusted with the fact that the unemployment rate for the minorities is going down, because that doesn't serve their cause or their agenda. And if they know once that wall is built, if it ever gets built, JJ, that ends their shenanigans with the votes.
Colonel, I have a theory about why unemployment is as low as it is. And it's simply this. Congress finally stopped extending unemployment benefits for people to go out to 104 weeks. It's like all of a sudden the free ride was over. People, if you want to eat, you better go out there and get yourself a job.
Good point.
This is, naturally unemployment's going to be high if you make it easy on people to spoon off of everyone else. And first of all, having a job, earning a paycheck, it's much better for your own personal dignity if you have honor. But if you don't, there's absolutely nothing that's going to motivate you to go out there and work, except if you get hungry enough. And honestly, when you look at the numbers, I think that one of the reasons that unemployment is as low as it is because we finally compelled these people to go out there and start pulling their own weight.
That's a good point.
I think that we have to do the same thing at the border, which is make it more difficult and make it harder on people that cross the border illegally than it is right now. And you'll see the numbers continue to go down, and that's how it should be. But this idea that there are jobs that Americans aren't willing to do, and George W. Bush actually said that in his trip overseas.
Yeah.
Said that, there's jobs that Americans aren't willing to do. And I was like, show me.
I can't stand when they say that. That is extremely repulsive.
It demeans these people.
And you better believe it. Because I tell you what, if I didn't have a job and I was making no money, I guarantee you I would be doing that work. But everybody skips over the fact it's because, let's find out how many maids and landscaping people the Hollywood folks have that they pay $15 or more to.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Instead of those other folks, who I'm talking about, that they want because they don't want to pay those kind of wages. Give me a break here. And the other thing I resented, too, was during, I'm guessing it's during the Bush administration, when people belittled the military and said, because the economy's so bad, you're getting these people that down south, just like you said before, volunteering for an all-volunteer military to serve because they can't find work anywhere else. Give me a break. You've got people in the military that believe in the military, that want to serve in the military, and they want to serve and protect this country. And I really resented when people made those accusations years ago against the Bush administration. It's a bunch of crap. Just like this, they come in this country and because no Americans want to do the jobs. Give me a break.
Yeah, it really is. It's demeaning to the people that come across the border to say things like that. If you really care about Mexicans, then help Mexico stimulate their own economy.
Bingo. Exactly.
it's like no. We have to kowtow to the globalists who they just want the borders to disappear, just like in Europe.
Isn't it kind of ironic when you have a country like Mexico, and I'm not bad-mouthing them, but I'm just stating a fact, where you have at least 7 major cartels that have cut off body parts, kill people like it's going out of style. Corruption is part of the way of life in that country, yet they call us immoral because of the citizens who come from Mexico and come to the United States illegal. That's wrong. Give me a break, folks. Really.
Right. Have you ever heard of a fellow by the name of Tom Steyer?
No, that name doesn't sound familiar.
He is a liberal billionaire. Tom Steyer, S-T-E-Y-E-R, a friend and donor to Obama and Clinton. He is hiring an army of more than 50 political operatives in a major campaign to help Democrats get control of the U.S. House this year so they can remove Trump from power.
Well, there you go. That's how it happens.
He is the founder of a group called Need to Impeach. He is 60 years old. He announced yesterday that he's hiring a team of 50 political and communications strategists to coordinate his campaign. And while he launched his $20 million campaign to impeach Trump last year, he has now promised to double that amount and also spend $30 million on 2018 House races through his super PAC called Next Gen America. The team includes 50 staff members, is adding thousands of new supporters to the impeachment movement each day, creating a digital army of activists who are mobilizing. Let me tell you what that really means. These are the people that are paid to go out and reply to articles on the internet, and when they see conservatives posting their opinions, they are paid to go after them. They are paid to attack them in any number of ways. These are the slimiest of the slimy. They really are.
Of course.
These are the dregs of humanity. And they are evil. They are anti-American. Actually, this is a form of sedition. It really is.
Oh, treason, sedition, absolutely.
Because there's no lie these people aren't willing to take and embrace.
That's exactly right.
And we've seen it for the past however many months since Donald Trump won the election.
What do you think a political operative is? Someone who gets paid to, do whatever they have to do to ensure success for their party. Isn't that the basic definition of extortion or whatever you want to call it? I mean, give me a break, folks.
Yep.
It's not that hard to figure out. Somebody's paying $10,000, to me to disrupt, campaign of the other side. That's the easiest thing in the world. And remember, all you have to do is just muddy the waters a little bit, throw something out there, dig some dirt up, like you said, fight conservatives when they put something out. It's the easiest thing in the world. And the way this media is, you're done. As soon as it gets out, because especially if you're on the other side, if you're on the Donald Trump side or the conservative side, you're done. You don't have a chance to defend yourself. Doesn't matter if it's true or whatever. You're done.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's even people on the left are kind of keeping this at arm's length. Even former Obama top advisor David Axelrod has condemned Steyer's campaign to impeach Trump, saying that the effort is too much too soon. I don't know what that ultimately means.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Yeah,
right?
it's like saying you have to wait until we actually win the elections before you do this, man. Otherwise, they'll think we're radical.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I think that people need to understand that this type of operation, it does nothing for the American people. It does nothing for the economy. It does nothing. It does nothing for the future of America. It is this really isn't this what the Hillary Clinton campaign has been doing since day one? And the DNC, I mean, what they've really, with regard to Donald Trump, there's no lie that these people wouldn't tell. There is nothing I mean, seriously, making up the story about Donald Trump urinating on a bed in Moscow.
Exactly. Give me a break.
And then finding out that Hillary and the DNC paid for the Steele dossier that was used as the evidence to get the warrant from the FISA court. And oh, by the way, the FBI forgot to tell the FISA court that this was paid for by the DNC and the Hillary Clinton campaign. I mean, honestly, folks, this is corruption plain and simple for anybody to see.
I can't believe that the Clinton supporters, they must be the stupidest people in the world, because do they really think that the Clintons are looking out for their best interest? You got to be kidding me. It's all about the Clintons holding on, seizing and holding on and never giving up the power that they lust for. They could give a crap less about you and me or anybody else in this country. They could care less about America as long as they do whatever they have to do to hold on to their power. Plain and simple. They have enough money, and if they don't have enough money, they certainly know how to get it through all these fictitious and chicanerous and skullduggerous activities with that foundation they're involved in. That's nobody seems to go after them for money laundering. Isn't that amazing? Gee, I don't know how that works. But they'll go after, Dinesh D'Souza, who violated.
Oh my God! He gave $2,500 to a campaign.
Exactly. Yeah. And they put him in jail. Give me a break.
Well, here's something that you might not have known, and this might come as a shock. Top Democrat probing Trump has own Russia secret. The Democrats long have claimed that it was the Trump campaign that was colluding with the Russians to steal the 2016 election from their candidate, Hillary Clinton, the now twice defeated Hillary Clinton. The facts are that Clinton's campaign paid an operative to get information from Russians to create the dossier. We know that. Well, now another Democrat has been revealed as having texted many times with a lobbyist for a Russian oligarch as he tried to set up a meeting with ex-British spy Christopher Steele, who was funded by the Democrats while he wrote the dossier, which was used as evidence to get permission to spy on the Trump campaign. Ed Henry at Fox News reports that there are text messages that reveal, get ready for it, Senator Mark Warner tried to set up that meeting. Warner has been leading a congressional investigation into President Trump's alleged ties to Russia, the report noted, even though he had extensive contact last year with a lobbyist for a Russian oligarch who was offering Warner access to Christopher Steele, the author of the dossier. We have so much to discuss. You need to be careful, but we can help our country, Warner texted the lobbyist, Adam Waldman, less than a year ago on March 22nd, 2017. He said, "I'm in." Waldman, whose firm has ties to Hillary Clinton, texted back. Steele famously put together the dossier, the anti-Trump dossier, of unverified information that was used by FBI and Justice Department officials to obtain the FISA court warrant on Trump advisor Carter Page. Well, Fox reported that throughout the text exchanges, during which secrecy seemed very important to Warner, the senator seemed particularly intent on connecting directly with Steele without anyone else on the Senate Intelligence Committee being in the loop, at least initially. In one text to the lobbyist, Warner wrote that he would rather not have a paper trail of his messages. Fox confirmed with a Warner aide that the text messages, which came from a Republican source to Fox, are real. They were not classified. Fox reported Waldman runs the Endeavor Group in Washington, and at one point in 2009 and 2010 lobbied the U.S. government on behalf of Russian billionaire Oleg V. Deripaska, whose visa was revoked because of claims of his ties to organized crime. A statement from North Carolina Republican Senator Richard Burr, the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, and Warner criticized the release of the information. Oh, gee, that's too bad. Does somebody get their little hands dirty? I mean, really?
It's just amazing. This is so obvious and blatant. and I haven't seen the slightest bit of evidence against Trump or anybody on his campaign or administration. I'm telling you, JJ, this is a backwards world.
It really is.
It's just, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, they're claiming that Trump was colluding with Russia. Well, no, he wasn't. But, it's funny. It takes one to know one, in a manner of speaking.
Yeah.
They're upset that these texts were released, but they weren't upset about the salacious information in the dossier, which, by the way, passed through the hands of John McCain on its way to the FBI. All of this, if this doesn't tell you everything you need to know about the bogusness of the Democrats' claims against Trump. I mean, what you have here, you had Democrats basically lining up to make their deals with the Russians. And the biggest deal maker of all was Hillary. I mean, let's not forget the uranium one. I mean, come on,
That's
folks.
Another one, right?
Hundreds of millions of dollars change hands.
Right. Yep.
And if people don't understand the urgency of this, Colonel, I don't think they ever will.
Jay, you better believe it, and that's what I say. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to look from a common sense perspective. You have so many facts that are out there on the other side and nothing on Trump's side. So it just shows you if nobody wants to look at that and do anything about it, then we are truly done. And it's really, because I don't know how you stop it, JJ, because you're not going to get the media if we can't get Jeff Sessions. And look at now, you got the Bureau, FBI, that's got some issues. I don't know how to stop this anymore. I don't know what to do about it. It's not like we're going to change the culture of CNN or MSNBC overnight. If those folks aren't seeing it now, and I got to tell you, when some of these things have come up, I've turned on those channels just to get a smidgen of what they were talking about, and they weren't even close what they were covering regarding all these different things coming up. They were still talking about some other nonsense with Trump. He's just trying to deflect because Mueller's going to put the cuffs on him any day now, folks. He's just trying to deflect. And it defies any sense of logic whatsoever. But again, to your point, it just illustrates the unbelievable, disgusting level of corruption among these politicians in D.C. and the media.
And meanwhile, North Korea continues to steam their way towards, nuclear weapons and delivery systems, although I have no doubt in my mind that if North Korea ever made the mistake of trying to use, that they would be soundly, we would knock anything they throw up down. I mean, we would. But the thing is, we haven't done it yet. And the question remains, why haven't we knocked down one of their test missiles? Maybe, just maybe, it's because we don't want to show them what our capabilities really are. For understandable reasons.
That could very well be.
And
exactly. That could very well be.
But the instant that they actually pose a real threat to any American holdings, whether it's Guam or Hawaii or Alaska or wherever, the instant that
there will be hell to pay,
or our allies for that matter. I mean, first of all, we have the technology. We know what's on those missiles when they go up. I mean, there's no mystery. If there's a warhead, if there's a nuclear warhead on a missile, we know about it. I have no doubt in my mind. We have the advanced technologies where they can tell the signature of a missile flying through the air. Now, obviously, I don't think that they would let that type of missile even get into the air. But in any event, I have to believe, especially with Donald Trump in the White House, that the top priority of our military has been readiness and vigilance to make sure that nothing like that ever gets off the ground, figuratively and literally.
And I firmly believe, like you said, Donald Trump is such that he's not going to let anybody get the bead on him, so to speak, like, unfortunately, I shouldn't say that, but 9/11 when, they struck the towers and stuff, and got us before we did anything. It's a little bit different, but I don't think I don't think Donald Trump is going to allow that to happen. At the first sight of that, and the military lets him know, we're going to be taking action, and I feel very confident about that. If it was the other administration, well, we can't do anything until the missile hits the ground, and then when it hits the ground, then we'll take action.
I gotta tell you, Colonel, here's what I believe happened during the Obama administration. I believe that Barack Obama was trying to set America up so that we would be the victims of an attack. I really believe that.
I wouldn't doubt that for a moment.
I mean, here's what I want people to know. You want to know how good our military is, even on its worst day? I believe our military is so good that when Barack Obama tried to pass down orders through the military to carry out whatever orders there were for us to stand down, for us to make ourselves more vulnerable to an attack or whatever. I believe the problem that Barack Obama had with our military was that even 2 or 3 layers down through the generals and the colonels and whoever else is out there, that we had too many honorable officers in the military that simply would not comply with orders that were detrimental to the defensive readiness of our country. And I think that is why Barack Obama tried to do the things he did to the military, tried to make it the rainbow military, tried to force transgenders and the homosexual agenda. And you know what? Even doing all that to try and undermine our state of readiness, we still have the best of the best in the world.
Oh, without a doubt. No doubt. You're right.
And there's people out there that would claim it's not true. But let's not forget there was the case of missing nukes. I mean, this goes all the way back to like 2010, 2011. There was the case of nukes that were ordered transported against regular military protocols. I mean, if you look into this, folks, obviously don't Google it because Google is not going to tell you the truth.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But if you dig, you can find details about nuclear weapons. And recall that Lindsey Graham actually specified that if there was an attack on I think it was the harbor at was it somebody help me out here. Charleston Harbor, something like that. So he said if there was a nuclear attack at Charleston Harbor, and ironically, that's where these weapons were headed. You have to, first of all, thank God that we have good men and women serving in the military, and secondly, the fact that these people, I believe they did. I believe they got the orders from the president. And I believe that there were enough people that recognized that it posed a threat to the United States. And so they scuttled those orders in the only way they could. Oh, we sent it to the wrong place. Oh, we forgot to do this. Oh, we forgot to do that. In other words, it's one thing to transport a nuclear weapon somewhere. It's a whole different thing to get it armed and ready to go. And, it's... And people like to quip about Donald Trump having access to the nuclear codes. You look at how careless Barack Obama was with our military over the course of his presidency, especially with regard to the Middle East. And it's like, you talked about somebody that was derelict.
Yeah, purposely.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine a scenario where a sitting president would give an order to transport nuclear weapons in such a manner that, I mean, you're talking weapons that only had a range of 800 miles, okay? And you move them to Charleston, South Carolina? Well, obviously you can't, you're not going to be launching them towards Iraq or some Iran or North Korea or any of our other, mortal enemies out there. So what would that tell you? Where would they be sending them if they were launching them from Charleston? Mm-hmm. And what are you going to go after Mexico City?
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on.
Cuba.
Yeah.
Cuba.
Yeah.
The great country of Cuba. Yeah.
Well, thank God that we have been blessed with a military. And, honestly, folks, you take it for granted in your lifetime. I was born in 1962. And if our military had not been the best in the world, who knows how many times we would have been attacked. I mean, it's hard to fathom.
Right.
But America, the envy of the world, the economic envy of the world, the scientific envy of the world, all of these things, our enemies, does anybody out there honestly think our enemies have not been plotting against us all that time?
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about naive.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's why I no, go ahead.
Well, what is it they say? You only have to be wrong once.
Right, exactly. And that's why I say I don't want to come across as a warmonger, but I am a firm believer to the umpteenth degree that a strong, large military force is a significant deterrent to all these other countries. And when you downsize your military, you take ships out of your fleet, you dwindle your capabilities, and that just gives impetus to those little knuckleheads, especially that fat, dirty little you-know-what in Korea, to bolster himself by firing missiles and challenging the great, United States.
Yeah. You were talking about the fat, little, dirty, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, who's he talking about? There's so many possibilities.
I shouldn't be so judgmental, but there's only one, the little 20-year-old knucklehead that thinks he can. Every time I think of him, and I think of his father, I don't know if you ever saw the movie, but it was really funny. It's
The Interview?
Team America.
No, Team America.
The oh, my goodness. And remember they had the little puppet that was Kim Jong-il or whatever. And,
oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to blow you up. I'm going to blow you up. Oh, my God. That was hilarious. But anyway, let's get serious. It's Levitas Friday.
It is. For heaven's sakes, say something funny.
Well, listen, the stock market's gone up and down more than, never mind, I'm not going there. But anyway.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing, though. Listen to the way that CNBC writes the headline. Now that the stock market has bounced into positive territory, CNBC writes this headline. Dow bounces more than 300 points Friday, but still posts worst week in 2 years.
Oh, my God. There you go. There you go.
Tells you all you need to know.
Yeah.
It's like...
Yeah. That's like,
I mean, never mind that that the Dow is up, thousands of points, and that people's long-term outlook is not nearly as negative as it was a year ago.
I know you had, I know you had a nice steak for dinner tonight, JJ, but we might not eat for the next 3 or 4 months. Okay?
Yeah.
Or
it's like it might have been the best filet mignon you ever had, but how was the dinner? How is the dinner mint?
This is how they do whatever they're trying to do to destroy this guy. Now, if it was under the previous administration, it would be Dow surges and continues to go up despite small setbacks. That's how they would spin it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
or that other guy.
It would be
remember,
Obama's economy perseveres. It's like
exactly. Despite these small little downturns, it's going and forging ahead thanks to his wonderful policies. Just like they're now saying.
Yeah.
Because it's all of his policies that made it go up now.
Well, of course. I mean, if there's going to be credit given to anybody, then it has to be, the mainstream media will not sit for anything else. But, I have yet to hear anybody do a good impersonation of Donald Trump. Have you?
No, not quite. No, I haven't. Except those knuckleheads on Saturday Night Live, but I don't watch them anyway.
Well, that's
they're the only ones.
Yeah, I think. Well, let's see here. I'm checking my sources here. Oh yeah. He's a jerk. I mean,
he's a jerk. Yeah, no doubt. What is he? Well, he's not a child molester, but I guess the way he yelled at his daughter and whatever else he does, he's a hothead. He's an angry man.
Right.
Alec Baldwin, I guess. That's the Baldwin brothers.
Yeah. Well, let's give it a shot here. Somebody claims that this is the greatest Trump impersonation ever. So let's see if that, in fact, is true.
I would have to vote for him. I don't have a lot of choice. I mean, it would be 4 to 8 years of more work.
Okay, here's your impersonator.
When Trump won, he said, "I just won the lottery."
Now, let me tell you, I'm a big deal.
No one speaks like Trump. Nobody.
So many illegals.
That's why I think so many people want to impersonate him.
You know who you are.
And it doesn't matter if it's Trevor Noah or Jimmy Fallon. Everybody wants to get in on this.
Okay, here it is. Get ready for it. Okay, now we're in Los Angeles. Okay, we're waiting. Come on already. Get to it. They're showing him
certain things really hard.
Here we go.
Physical, and everyone's doing the thing with their hands, and he's kind of hitting certain words like Clinton and China and certain things really hard. So obviously Trump is president. He's not been getting as orange as he had been getting, so I've had to back off of that.
Okay,
we're insanely busy. I did meetings where, it was NBC.
We're trying to get...
All right, I'm pretty much ready to go. There's a woman in the line. Every single day, there's so much.
John, put your hands together for John DeDonico.
Here we go.
I'm so
Colonel.
happy that all of you are here for my continuing victory tour and rally all over the country. This is amazing. With all the press that I've had and all the things that I've done.
All right. Yeah. Why is it that, they have to, it has to become a documentary. It can't just be, okay, give me the actual impersonation.
Right.
It's like,
right.
With Trump, I mean, what little we heard, I thought was semi-decent. But
it was okay.
But, it certainly was. To me, and I don't do very many impersonations. But the ones I do, I try to be as gracious as possible. I mean, even doing Barack Obama, it's not designed to denigrate the guy's.
Exactly.
But this all seemed to revolve around, this guy's such a douche, and he's not.
Exactly.
Donald Trump is a man's man. He really is. I mean, he's not a safari guy. He doesn't put the heads of elephants on his office wall. He is a man that has a strong personality, and certainly there are things there that you could exploit if you were doing an impersonation. But with an impersonation, it's just as important what you say as how you say it, and that's why I like some of the old ones. I loved Darrell Hammond's impersonation of Al Gore. You remember that?
Oh, indeed. Yep, I absolutely do.
One of the very best.
You're right.
But when you get down to with Donald Trump, the reason he's so hard to impersonate is because he is so unique. He is so different than anybody we've ever seen before. And but the guy is as sharp as a tack. He really is. And for being his age, 71, I think 71.
Exactly.
And there's people out there that want to argue, well, he said he weighs 239 pounds. Do you think he's lying? I say, no, I don't think I care.
Yeah, exactly. JJ, I told you before, if I had, and I'm a number of years younger than him, if I had the energy and stamina that he has, forget about all the stress and pressure, whatever. If I had that energy, man, it'd be aces. I cannot believe it. I couldn't keep up with him. What does he get, 4 hours of sleep a night? He's out there working, whether he's on the golf course or not. I give him a lot of credit like you said, for being 71 and for putting in the hours that he puts in, man. Just for that alone, the American public should say, holy cow, because I don't think the Big O did that when he was in president. Nobody knew his schedule. Nobody even knew where he was, as evidenced by Benghazi. We still don't know to this day where the Big O was when all that was going down. Anyway.
Yeah, I think I know where he was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know where he was. Hey,
if that's Hillary, I can't take the call, all right? Don't answer the phone. Hey, Michelle, don't answer the phone. Hey, Malia and Sasha, go upstairs, all right? Don't answer the phone up there. We think it's Hillary. We don't want to talk to her right now. Don't answer it until tomorrow.
Yeah. What he was probably, honestly, the people that he hangs around with, can
you imagine?
No. I just can't. I can't imagine actually being Barack Obama.
You just brought up a good point. Could you imagine? They're accusing Donald Trump of being in bed, literally and figuratively, with Vladimir Putin. And we know for a fact that Barack Hussein Obama was, maybe he wasn't in bed with Bill Ayers, but he was certainly at the house with Bill Ayers. And then Reverend Wright. What does that tell you? I mean, give me a break, American people. Are you?
And they were claiming that Donald Trump was a neo-Nazi because somebody he doesn't know by the name of David Duke endorsed him.
Right. Endorsed him. Right.
It's like what do you expect the man to do? I mean, first of all, he's not a neo-Nazi. You can ask anybody that's ever worked for him. He's not a neo-Nazi. He's not a racist. He's not a black hater. But people will make up stories about Donald Trump, and once you've made up the story that it gets propagated because the media, that's what they live for. But there doesn't have to be any fact to it, no truth to it. There's not even any fact-checking going on, which is why the media has gotten so much wrong about Trump.
Regardless of whether you think it's opinion or not, the biggest haters were that FBI agent and his in-house girlfriend. They're the biggest haters.
Yep.
They dissed people, they whatever. It's amazing. And that's what's so ironic about the left, who claim to be so inclusive and sympathetic. They're the biggest haters ever. Just like you said earlier with Bette Midler's comment. What is that?
Yeah.
What if Donald Trump said that? I mean, give me a break,
It's there's certain things you can get away with in Hollywood that you can't get away with in Washington. And, this is why sometimes it seems as though the GOP is behind the eight ball and can't gain any traction. It's because we don't have the option of lying like the left does. We don't have the option of making up a lie and then having it covered as though it's fact.
Exactly.
And so everything we say has to be vetted. Everything we say has to be correct. If it's not, and here's the funny thing too, is all of a sudden, if a Republican gets caught in a lie, all of the Democrats in the world stand up and go, aha, see that? They lied. But they don't say a thing about the Clintons. They don't say a thing about the Clintons and the web of deception that was built around Bill and Hillary Clinton is so big and so all-encompassing. There is not one thing that Bill and Hillary Clinton have ever done in politics that wasn't for their own best interest. They have never, ever sacrificed anything for a cause that's bigger than them. Never.
It's on videotape. I did not have sex with that woman.
That's right.
And then what? Couple weeks later, yes, I did. And it's like nobody looks at each other and goes.
But here's where your memory is fuzzy. The first denials about that woman happened around the end of 1997. Okay? We're talking December 1997. That's when the denials happened. That's when Hillary went on the Today Show and said the vast right-wing conspiracy was after her husband. That's when all that happened. But it was August of 1998 when Bill Clinton finally came on TV and said, In fact, I did have an inappropriate relationship with Monica Lewinsky. In fact, it was wrong. And it took 8 months. How long do you think it would have? How long do you think it would have been before a Republican would have been doing the mea culpa on TV?
Yeah.
We're talking maybe 8 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, this is the difference between Republicans and Democrats. Is Republicans get burned at the stake. The Democrats, they get every benefit of the doubt from the media.
Yep.
And it's always been that way. So, you know, anybody wants to claim that Donald Trump has got some sort of unfair advantage because he's the president, get real.
Yeah, exactly. Get real. That's right.
I mean, how many times? How many times have we seen? I mean, remember the Gary Hart monkey business?
Oh yeah, right. The picture with him in that. Yep.
And what was the name of the boat? The Monkey Business.
Oh, the Monkey Business.
That's right. That? And what was the name of the girl? Yeah. What was her name? Donna Rice.
Yeah.
Something like that. And you know, and he had actually, and this is the difference between Republicans and Democrats. A Republican that's having a sexual liaison with somebody is likely going to say something like, you know, this is my personal life, and this doesn't have anything to do with anything, and you know, it's all in the past. My wife and I have reconciled, and blah blah blah. What did Gary Hart do? He challenged the media to follow him around and catch him if they could, and they did. But with Bill Clinton, it's like he walked in the room and he looks at the media and goes, "Look, you guys know what I really am. So don't try it. Don't try and, you know, just, you know, you either support me and help me deny all these allegations. You be my defense attorneys on the job 24/7, or I'm not taking you with me to the ball."
Exactly. Or I'm not going to give you access to the
exactly
to the Lincoln bedroom or the White House.
The Lincoln bedroom. Exactly. Oh, brother.
And remember, so goes me, so goes Hillary. Come on now. We're a team.
Oh boy, he did.
And I tell you, I cringe anytime she says, "Well, my husband." Ooh, that just makes me. I got to tell you, I get goose. I'm like, oh god.
I kind of get the feeling that she's vomiting inside when she says that.
Probably, exactly, and that's what it looks like too when she says it.
Yeah,
but, yeah.
And yeah, she doesn't. You know, do they have any terms of affection for one another? Because I've never heard them.
Well, you watch the body language. Like a couple times I've watched them when they were on stage, and he like puts his hand on her, and she'll either push it away or okay, that's enough. We held hands for 2 seconds. Get off, and you could sort of see like
it almost reminds me of somebody. It almost reminds me of somebody that's forced to have a picture taken with their grandmother. You know what I'm talking about?
Good example.
It's like we. I mean, you know, if it wasn't for the fact that,
but don't touch me.
Exactly. If there wasn't for the fact that there was a genetic tie between the two of us, there would be absolutely no reason. And it's like, but yeah, you know, especially a young teenage boy. If he's forced to have a picture taken with his grandmother at his bar mitzvah or whatever.
And then when grandma tries to fix his hair too before the picture, oh, grandma, stop.
Yeah, but I just can't. I just can't picture Bill Clinton looking at Hillary and saying, "Hey there, honey bun." You know, I can't picture it.
For you. Yeah, me either. Me either. Hey, I'm hot.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I always picture it. He walks into the room, takes a look at her, and says, "I am not having sex with that woman."
Not even if you give it to me for free.
Oh, brother.
Oh, boy.
But do you remember this, though? At one point, Hillary was not half bad to look at. Way back in the day. But she met Bill one night as he was coming home late from work. She met him at the front door wearing a slinky negligee. And she said, Bill, tonight I'm going to give you super sex. And he looks at her and he goes, I am kind of hungry. I think I'll take the soup.
Or, hey, baby, do to me what you're going to do to the country in a couple of years.
Goodness. Hey, Colonel, I can't believe our Friday is already melted away. Like the polar ice caps, the whole show is just melted away.
Put another quarter in the meter, JJ, so we can get another hour out of it.
Colonel, I thank you, my friend. We'll see you in 1 week.
You're always welcome.
Take care, brother.
God bless.
See you. All right, friends, that's going to do it for the Friday edition of the JJ McCartney Show. Gosh, we're out of time. Be good to yourselves, and if you possibly can, be good to someone else. And remember, we'll win in the end because there are more of us than there are of them. Because God is with us, and because we are all in this thing together. We'll see you on Monday. Until then, have a great weekend. Bye-bye.